You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Hello, everybody. I'm Roger B. This is the Locked and Loaded Show, and you're listening to America's Web Radio. And to my right, staying with us for a short time, perhaps,
at least for a little while,
Victor Armendariz from On Point with Victor is going to be joining us today for a little while.
Woohoo!
And we're going to discuss...
It's hard to walk away when you have a chance to talk about guns.
That's right, locked and loaded. However...
And that's right. So, Roger, by the way, I met somebody the other day who... this is actually a funny story because it applies to both of us, and it applies to the whole station. So I met somebody the other day in the parking lot, no less, of Lake Lanier.
Okay.
And this guy happened to see a sign. I've got a sign in my window of my Expedition that says Bikers for Trump.
Oh, I thought it said Zombie Apocalypse Response Team.
Well, that's on the front.
That's another sticker.
That's a whole other sticker. And there was a guy that came up to me and he goes, "Man, I really like your sign, and I agree, I'm a supporter." And he started asking me a few questions. So I gave him a card and said, "Hey, look, you might if you like what what you're telling me.
If you like this idea, follow my idea.
Here, check out America's Web Radio." The next day, I got a text from him that said, "I'm listening to every Locked and Loaded and every On Point with Victor." So the guy is hooked. And
what have we done?
It's so like I said, it's hard not to talk about guns and enjoy it. But I told him, because he told me, he goes, "I'm listening to all the Locked and Loadeds," and I told him, I said, you need to get on there and try and stump Roger because no one else can.
Oh, no, I can be stumped. Oh, my God.
You're the genius and a walking encyclopedia of guns.
No. I don't want to be stumped.
So I did put the challenge out there.
Oh, great. Everyone's going to throw me impossible questions.
Well, maybe, but, you're up for the task.
Yeah,
hey,
we'll
it keeps
see.
the brain exercised.
That's right. Okay, well, first we're going to get into, this is kind of weird because this is something you would play into also, a little government overreach perhaps.
What? Never.
Yeah, you wouldn't think governments would overreach, especially with everything going on. Now, this is in Maine. There was a guy who worked for the Maine State Police for years, decades, filed a whistleblower lawsuit in federal court alleging that he was demoted after alerting his superiors to illegal practices that says they were maintaining records of people's gun sales beyond the point they were supposed to. Because applications to purchase firearms are supposed to be destroyed after the sale is approved. But he found out that one of the centers there was keeping that information in a database that they weren't supposed to be storing. This is just backdoor gun registry.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Backdoor tyranny.
That's right. I mean, they're just looking to say, well, who has these guns? Where do we have to go to collect them if we change our laws? It's ridiculous. Now, of course, the state says, "Oh no, we didn't do anything wrong. We didn't do," because of course they're not going to admit it and make any kind of claim such as that. But we'll see. Hopefully they're going to investigate this. This was in the state of Maine, which, from what I understand, they're relatively a free state. They're not usually one to violate gun owners' rights that much. But I guess it's just so easy. All these systems we have today, all these computers and phones and memory storage devices, it's so easy to store all this information and keep it forever. So a lot of these states are deciding, you know what, let's just hold on to this for a little longer than we're supposed to. But we'll see. I mean, now there's going to be hopefully an investigation because they were following even Facebook pages of people who attended a protest of the Maine power plant. They were saying who they were, and then they were trying to track them to see if they were able to own a gun and whatnot. Ooh. It was crazy. They're using all these computers and social media. That's what I tell people all the time. Be careful what you put on social media, especially make sure it's legal.
Yeah.
Don't post illegal crap on Facebook. I mean, that's just asking for it.
You know what else is coming with this whole Wuhan COVID-19 virus is tracking.
Oh, yeah. They're already doing that in some places.
Yeah, they're going to use this as a reason to track American citizens. And it's pretty darn messed up.
I know. It seems like just a couple hundred years ago we had a battle to stop all this, and now it's rolling right back in.
History repeats itself. Has a funny way of doing that.
It's amazing how people forget that. Well, maybe they don't remember because kids today were never taught.
That's true. We talked about that earlier.
You can't say you forgot if you never knew.
You never knew. That's true, Roger. On my show earlier, we were talking about that, about what's not being taught.
It's like the best thing I read. It was an article in a I don't even know if it's still around, the Creative Loafing. I've talked about this before. They had an article about communists handing out brochures at some music festival.
Yep.
And the article's writer was quick to point out that if they get communism, they're not going to be allowed to hand out flyers anymore.
Exactly. But they don't think about this because everyone who's part of that think they're going to be part of the elite. And that's
it's just
the
like there are certain gun owners who go, well, you can have a bolt-action rifle or a shotgun, but nobody needs an AR-15. Nobody
Right.
needs a pistol that holds more than 8 rounds. Hoo-ha, I'm 1911 all the way, said the baby boomers,
Yeah.
But you know what? As soon as you start giving up an inch, they're going to take a mile.
No, of course.
Everyone's heard the expression, you give them an inch, they take a mile. Well, this is exactly what you're doing. Don't give up that inch.
That statement was made true because of government.
Oh, yeah.
Because
they're
of government.
Well, they knew it was there.
Just think, you want a prime example? Go way back when the income tax was implemented. Oh, it's only going to be 3%, and it's only going to be for that group over there. Well, take a look today. And
now 50% of the people pay income tax.
It's
up to
ridiculous.
40, 37%, 35%.
And the
depending on who's in power and what laws they have.
One way that'll just drive you nuts is we're pretty much at a point where 47% or so of the population are net tax gainers. So they're not paying any federal income tax, but they're taking. So we've got 52 or so percent of the populace that's carrying the weight when it comes to federal taxes.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah,
it's pretty sad.
I think I was reading stats on that at one point, like the 10%ers, the 1%ers, all those. The percent of actual taxes they pay is just huge.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But you know what? If you're getting tax refunds, at least put it to good use.
Buy a gun.
Buy a gun. Buy ammo. Stockpile a little bit, because rarely, I've never said anything about doing anything violent against government. However, they seem to be overreaching more and more, and if people don't get out to the ballot boxes and vote or send in their 20 absentee ballots or whatever they're allowed to do according to the new rules, I don't know.
Right. Well,
buy a dozen donuts, get an extra ballot. There you go.
Hey, you put Krispy Kreme out there, and I might be willing to vote for somebody.
Vote a few extra times. I don't know.
Let me try. I found out the other day that my uncle was going to vote Democrat, and Roger, I got to tell you, he would never do that if he were alive today.
Yeah, there you go.
If he were alive today, he'd never do it.
I had an uncle who voted Republican every day until the day he died.
Until the day he died.
Oh my, yes. You know what? If you're gonna play, at least play fair. That's all I'd ask. If you win, you lose, whatever. Play fair. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. Play fair. If you're gonna cheat, lie, and steal to get what you want, what's the point of it? Just because you think you're right?
Exactly.
Why have a democracy if you're gonna lie, cheat, and steal, and make it like every other third world country and on the planet? Why even bother?
Yeah, it's crazy.
But now more than ever, I think the Second Amendment is really coming under attack because the First Amendment is coming under attack. I saw an article, I can't even remember where it's from, but apparently members of a Black Baptist church were being arrested because they were congregating and having a worship service. Now, this is clearly spelled out in the First Amendment that you cannot prevent somebody from worshiping how they want to or from peaceably assembling.
It's enshrined.
And yet there's a constitution, a Supreme Court ruling that says states may not make laws that violate constitutional law. It's in there. It's been decided back in 1866. This was decided. But yet all these states are granting themselves emergency powers to shut down free speech, to shut down places of worship, to shut down gun stores.
Well, what needs to be pointed out, too, is these emergency powers that governors are using. I mean, yes, they have emergency powers, but if you look and look at the state constitutions and a lot of the writings behind where they're trying to derive this power, it really is limited, very limited.
Oh yeah, and it's supposed to be for short periods of time.
Very short periods of time. And in fact, we should have never gone past 2 weeks of lockdown. Now, I venture to say we should have never locked down in the first place, and I think the proof is going to I'm gonna be proven right.
Right.
Over some time.
Now, granted, the government can encourage you. They can
absolutely.
They can suggest. They can strongly persuade. But legally, they should not have been allowed to force a shutdown.
No.
And most people probably would have gone along with it for a few weeks for the sake of being
what I would have
proper and everything and trying to do the best thing,
100%,
do the right thing.
100%. Here's the kind of leader, and this is what I wish Trump would have done, but I do understand the pressure he was under, and you got to understand the kind of person he is. He wants to trust people,
and without knowing,
he wants and for what he was being told. I mean, folks, none of us know these shoes that he walks in every day unless you're the president. No, and I'm not talking about Trump. Any president of the United States, none of us know what that's like and what they're being divulged, what the information that's coming to them.
Right, because what we see them as knowing and what they know, there's probably 80% of it that we never even know that they hear about.
We don't know the threats, and when you are the president of the free world, there's a lot of weight on you. But that being said, the states, what I would have liked to have seen, and had I been, we'll role play a little bit. Had I been governor of, let's say, Georgia, there's no way I would have shut down. I would have had the Constitution with me because the media would have been telling me, calling me every name.
Shut down the gun shop. Exactly. Shut down this. Shut down that.
I would have held the Constitution and said, I am going to give out guidelines and I'm going to request that the American people do a certain things for a certain amount of time. But this Constitution will not allow me to be a ruler, dictator, or tyrannous.
Yeah, there you go.
And that would have been the best governor in this country.
I can ask the American people to join together.
Yeah.
And
we as
work
people
towards a common goal,
exactly.
but I can't force you to do it.
I'm not going to force you to do it, and because I can't. And that is the difference between a governor or a politician who truly respects the Constitution and ran for the right reasons. And I would say it might be hard to find any Democrat and a lot of establishment Republicans who ran for the right reasons.
Yeah. It's like in Michigan, I think they're still trying to shut down the gun stores there, even though Department of Homeland Security said you cannot shut down a gun store. They are a constitutional right. You cannot shut them down.
She's trying to shut down everything except Planned Parenthood.
Yeah. Oh, and her husband was able to get some sort of boating permit or something.
Oh, right. And her husband needed a boating permit. By golly, you parked the water for that.
I know. It's like,
well,
oh, man.
She's an elitist. Remember, what's good for you is good for you. It doesn't mean it's going to be good for the elitists.
All the celebrities and politicians who want armed guards around them 24/7, but don't want you to be able to defend yourself.
Yep.
They just forget that being in power like that, being in government, you're a representative.
Right.
You are not a ruler. You are not a dictator. You are not even a leader. You are a representative of the people who vote you in, and you should not have armed guards around you 24/7 if you don't allow people to provide for their own protection. Because, I mean, I preach it all the time. Be your own first responder. Have a fire extinguisher in case the fire department can't get there in time. Have a gun in case the police can't get there in time.
Have several guns and ammo in case.
Yes. I would rather have 2 guns
well, look,
than have to wait for the police to get there on time.
It wasn't long ago. I mean, I think this was last year when we were in the middle of a gun debate. The Democrats are screaming that you don't need that 15-round clip. You don't need magazine. that you don't need that AR-15. You don't need all this. You don't need.
They're right.
You don't need.
We don't need it. But Rosa Parks didn't need to sit in the front of the bus either.
She didn't need. So, my point is, back then when they were in the middle of the debate, there was a house, and I don't remember what state, and there was a family that was accosted by 3 or 4 bad guys.
Armed assailants, yes.
Armed assailants. And that homeowner had an AR-15. And were it not for that AR-15, they would have never had the firepower to repel 3 or 4 people.
Right. Plus, it's amazing what a well-oiled rifle can do in the hands of a good guy when pointed at the bad guy, because they recognize that profile immediately.
Yep.
You come to the door, they're trying to beat down your door, and they bust the door open, and you've got an AR-15 pointed at them, as opposed to any other pistol, perhaps. That's going to carry a lot more weight in trying to prevent any further violence, because they're going to see that and go, oh, well, suddenly we're outgunned, we're leaving.
Now, if you breach my door, and I don't care if it's 1, 3, 4, or 5, but you breach my door and you're that close to me, well, you're going to be welcomed by something called a Saiga 12. And if you want to know what a Saiga 12 is, then go look it up or have Roger B. explain it to you one day.
It's just the Russian version of everything semi-automatic. Everything semi-automatic is Russia. Oh, we take AK-47. Let's make it 12-gauge shells. All right, we're going to have to come right back. We're taking a quick break. This is America's Web Radio, and you're listening to Locked and Loaded.
We're going to do something a little bit different on our break right now. So get ready, Roger B. and Victor A. Victor A.
A and
Probably
B.
it's going to stick. I like it.
A or B.
Okay.
C.
What's your favorite range and where is it?
Oh, that's hard. I have so many that I like.
Question.
Most of them are near my house. I like Dead Center because I like the personnel there. I like Georgia Gun Club. They have a spectacular facility. I like Johns Creek Gun Club. Very nice facility.
Where is
nice
it in
people.
Johns Creek? I live in Johns Creek.
Right by Bowles. It's right where Bowles Road dumps into McGinnis Ferry.
McGinnis Ferry.
There's a Kroger or Publix right next door to it. So you can get a snack and go shoot.
Yeah, and a Coke and a beer.
That's well.
No.
Well,
after.
After, yes.
Yeah, after.
Where is McGinnis?
Once they open.
Okay. you
McGinnis
say
Ferry
so.
and
Bowles Road.
Bowles Road, yeah.
Yeah, it's on McGinnis Ferry.
Yeah,
It's right near Forsyth County, right on the border.
It's a good one. I like that one. I
It's
also
very nice.
like there's one going towards Jasper, right before Jasper, Georgia.
Yeah.
Right in the hills of, well, like I said, right before Jasper. But it's nice. Really nice.
And I was up at I used to fly into, what is it? LJ and,
Oh, yeah.
and what's the other name of that little town?
Blue Ridge.
No, not Blue Ridge.
Now, we'll mention Georgia
Talking
Gun
Rock?
Club does have a 100-yard indoor range. Yeah, so that's special.
That's
Oh,
worth
yeah.
seeing.
And where's your favorite gun store?
Gun shows.
The internet.
The internet?
I can buy anything in my underwear on the internet.
I like, well,
Or not.
that's true or not. But the gun shows, I can't wait till we get those back up. and
Oh,
running.
yeah,
The gun
social
shows are
distancing
great
has shut
to-
that down cold.
Yep, and yeah, those and yeah, there's some good ones out there.
But it's hard to pick a favorite. I mean, there's so many. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So many. Good selection is nice. And informed personnel are really good, too. If you have questions about something you're not sure. Most of the gun ranges and gun stores I've been to all have personnel that are fairly well informed. Every now and then you run across the one jackwagon who just pushes you his favorite and that's it and doesn't listen to what you're looking for. Everybody needs a Glock. Everybody needs a 1911. No, they don't.
Yeah, no, they don't. I mean, look, your hand is gonna. Some weapons are gonna feel the grip's gonna feel great, and some they're not gonna feel great. So,
Yeah, like when we had Harold and he was talking about picking out a gun. It's like, you have to get your hands on it, even try shooting it, because the way they're designed, some of them recoil differently than others or more than others, depending on the size or the way the slide is positioned over your hand. The ergonomics make a difference, and the best thing is go to a range where they have a big rental counter. Usually you pay $10 or $15 and you can use any gun in the rental counter you want for that day. They'll keep trading them out. As long as you buy ammo from them, you can buy a box of 9mm and shoot 5 guns with 10 rounds each, just so you can sample them all until you find one you like. And that way, before you buy a new gun, you can try it out first.
That's it. So, with that being said, we'll be coming back to Locked and Loaded with Mr. B right after this.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
never left.
And we're back. Although, like I said, it feels like we never left.
And we're back.
Okay, now amid all this coronavirus quarantine, well, the word quarantine is so misused because it means keeping sick people away from healthy people.
Very misused.
They're keeping
because
everybody away from everybody.
The government with these shutdowns are doing the opposite. They're trying to keep the healthy away from the healthy.
Yeah, keeping everybody away from everybody. But in the midst of all this ridiculousness, that's what I'm going to say.
Hey, good show, by the way.
Remington has brought out a new bolt-action rifle. And you might think, Remington brought out a new rifle, big deal. It's a bolt-action rifle. Oh, yeah, another 700 variant. No, this one is different. This is the new R2MI 50 caliber BMG bolt-action rifle. I believe this is the first 50 caliber that Remington has ever brought out. And this one is purpose-built to be a high-grade match-style target rifle. I mean, they use all the best parts. So it has a Lothar Walther barrel, free-floated with vented handguards, fully machined 60/60 aluminum billet, M13 rails everywhere, hard anodized finish, all the good stuff. A Magpul PRS Gen 3 adjustable buttstock, which is on almost all precision rifles.
You said buttstock.
Buttstock, yeah. Buttstock. And, of course, it's got a muzzle grip. It's got a pistol grip, so be careful. Oh, my God. Certain states are going to just jump all over the pistol grip.
Are they trying to call under the targets of socialist Dems?
But these are built to order, so you have to call them up and start asking what you want built, and they'll build it for you. Now, they're not taking orders until the fall, but get excited, get ready, because here it comes. I mean, this thing has a match grade barrel. It also has a match grade chamber, which means they're going to fit this thing to shoot more accurately than almost any other 50 caliber out there, other than a few other extreme ones, like the Macmillan and stuff like that are match grade also. But it is built to shatter all previous expectations for long range accuracy. So they're really reaching out there. So they're stepping up.
Gotta love R&D.
Yeah. Now they're hoping to build sub-minute of angle accuracy with a 50 caliber rifle, which is crazy because the 50 caliber was never built to be a precision rifle. It was built as a machine gun cartridge. Mm-hmm. But Carlos Hathcock put a scope on a 50 caliber machine gun once, and
voila!
And all of a sudden, everyone's going, "Hey, this is kind of fun! I can reach out and touch people with this."
You give a whole new meaning, Buzz. I'm just going to take a little off the top.
Yeah, but now before you get all excited and start seeing how many thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars this is, it's coming in at $45.99 retail, which is actually not bad for a 50 caliber bolt action rifle. Yeah. So that's kind of neat. If you get a chance, you can look it up online. It's the Remington, what do they call it? R2MI 50 caliber. And, it's not bad. At that price, it's reasonable. It has a 10-round box magazine, so it's a repeater. So it's not one of these single shot, have to disassemble half the gun to get a shot in it. It actually feeds from a 10-round box magazine. So that's kind of neat. I look forward to seeing this one come out because at that price point, I think you're going to see a lot of recreational shooters maybe take the plunge and maybe jump in on that. I mean, $4,600 is nothing to sneeze at. Plus, that's without an optic, too. Start putting a $1,000, $2,000 scope on that, you have quite the package, but still.
Yeah, but still, it sounds like, once we get this economy roaring, that will be a bargain in some cases.
In its range, in what it does, it's a reasonably priced gun for what it does. I mean, other guns in the 50 caliber range can be 10,000 plus easy. And now the Barrett's probably pretty reasonable with a semi-automatic coming in at about 9 or 10,000. But again, then optics on those things get to be pricey because you need something that'll reach out there. And you got to be able to see what you're shooting if you're 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 yards away.
You got to be able to see it.
Yeah, or you can just blaze away.
Yeah.
If you just want to shoot it to see what it's like, then go ahead, blaze away. But that's neat. I'll look forward to seeing one of those out soon if we ever do get gun shows back open again. But I'm sure
soon, one day.
I'm pretty sure governors, particularly those who are in the gun grabbing states, are going to hold off on letting gun shows happen as long as they possibly can, ever.
I mean, look at them. They're holding off on opening the states as long as they can.
I know. They want to keep that power. It's crazy. I don't get it.
They don't want business, any business. It's crazy.
And then they want the federal government to bail them out. It's like, where do they think the federal government gets money from?
Well, that is funny, Roger, because I mentioned that last week or sometime. These morons who are shutting their states down and then screaming for money, well, you're shutting down the revenue force in your state. If your citizens aren't working, you're not being able to tax them. And then if they're not working, the feds aren't taxing them. So I mean,
where's the federal government supposed to get money from to fund your state?
That's what I'm saying. Where do these idiots think that? But these are also the people who think that they can just magically pay for it. I mean, come on. AOC thinks that food appears in a grocery store, so money must appear in your bank account.
Wasn't that Stacey Abrams who said something? Why do we need farmers if we have grocery stores?
Pretty much. It wasn't,
I don't know if that was the exact quote, but it was something along those lines. I was like,
but she pretty much
did she really just say that?
She disparaged all of agriculture, the whole industry.
I know. That was in Georgia, of all places.
Yeah.
We are known for agriculture.
This is Stacey Abrams, who is one of the front runners to be VP pick for Hiding Biden.
Hiding Biden. Creepy Joe.
Creepy Joe.
Oh, my. I saw the Wheel of Fortune. It said Joe Biden is a, then it was R-A space I-S-T. And the guy couldn't decide between a P and a C. He couldn't decide whether it's a rapist or a racist.
Or a racist.
Both would have been correct, I think, but, you know. But no, because, you know, but we forgot, we don't believe women who accuse Democrats.
Nope.
Nope, they don't get believed. I'm sorry.
There's no Me Too movement if it's the accused is a Democrat male.
Seems like it. Oh, my God. Just a few months ago, they were touting this, you know, the Supreme Court judge for a story that they could not validate. There were no reports to substantiate any of it, but yet here Biden's accuser filed police reports within the same few days, told everybody about it.
Yep.
Tried to let everybody know, can remember every last detail, but yet, that doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I'm not saying he's guilty or not, but what I'm saying is if we're going to have a set of standards for Kavanaugh, or a Republican, then the same standards should be met by a Democrat who's being accused.
It just seems odd to me. But then again, a lot of things in government seem odd to me. That's why I stick to the guns. They make more sense to me. But now, I don't know how many of you own HK products, specifically MP5s or MP5 clones or MP5s, HK94s, whatever you want to call them. If you're familiar with HK, you probably know an MP5. It's probably in almost every video game ever made that has modern weapons in it. But Magpul is coming out with some enhancements for the MP5s and their clones. Now, if you're familiar with Magpul, they make parts, accessories, magazines for all kinds of weapons. They started off making magazines for AR-15s, as far as I know. That's where I think they really started to shine, because their magazines were exceptional. They beat out most of the stock mil-spec type magazines. They were more durable. They fed better. They held up longer. They even had, some of them had even windows to be able to run round counts. While you're in the middle of a battle, you glance at the magazine, you can see how many rounds you have left, which is kind of cool, and you get used to using those. That's kind of nice. But anyway, so they started making some accessories. Actually, it was last October they started making them for the CZ Scorpion, which is probably one of the most popular, let's call it pistol caliber carbines that has come out in a long time. Because it has everything everybody wants, and you can get it with a pistol brace, which makes it more like the original. Shorter barrel, you know, and now that you can put a pistol brace against your shoulder and not be considered an outlaw, that's good too. But Magpul's come out with their new products for the MP5. They have hand guards available for the short or longer barrels, and they're supposed to be wider and have a built-in hand stop on them. And I think they're $50 MSRP, well, $49.95. But now keep in mind, all these parts I'm going to tell you about all meet what's called the 922R compliant parts, meaning you have to have a certain percentage or number of your parts on your weapon must be made in the United States for it to be legal in certain configurations. It gets kind of complicated, but but all these will count as U.S. made parts.
Hey, hopefully we'll reach a point where more and more and more is being made in the good old U.S. of A.
They got the hand guards for the 7.2 inch barrel and the 5 inch barrel. They have an enhanced selector kit.
We're getting all kinds of hand motions coming from the gallery.
Oh, is it time to take a break?
It is time for a break.
Okay. You're listening to Locked and Loaded. I'm Roger B. with my special guest, Victor Armendariz, and you're listening to America's Web Radio. Quick. That was funny. I thought he was dancing over there. I was going to say, you want to play some music?
I'm not blocking.
That's right. Oh, Biden, what a dipshit that guy is.
I almost feel bad for him because he is losing his mind.
I'm. How bad is it when your own family is allowing you to go through, to be used like that? All for the quest of power.
Well, I think they're using him as a loser to be able to write him off. Wow, we would have won except for Biden lost his freaking mind.
Paulina's bike's ready.
Ready from what?
Her Grom. Danny was fixing.
Oh.
Oh man, he put new sprockets, new tires.
Yeah, it needed
new
everything, I'm
chain,
sure.
Oil.
I'm not hearing any commercials. Why not? Not yet. And now we're back. Okay. I'm Roger B. This is Locked and Loaded, and you're listening to America's Web Radio. Right before we left for the break, we were talking about Magpul products for MP5s or MP5 clones or HK94s, because not everybody has an MP5, because lately they've been running $35,000 to $40,000 after the Hughes Act of 1986 passed, which don't get me started on that. And that was signed by a Republican, too.
I was just about to say,
Reagan put that through.
Yeah, the worst part about that, and Reagan's my hero, but to be convinced to sign that in. But again, like I said, when
trying
you're
to
in
make
that
deals
position
happen, trying to compromise.
and people are hitting you, and remember, Reagan never had a Republican majority. He had to deal with.
He had the people's ear, though, which really helped.
That's a shame.
He did what he could. That's
he did.
irritating. But anyway,
Once I'm elected, that will be rescinded. Don't worry.
Oh, okay, good. You guys hear that? Vote for Victor Armendariz for president, and we will rescind the Hughes Act.
You heard it here first.
Which means machine guns for everybody. For a mere $200 stamp, everybody gets a machine gun.
That's right. Boy, are we gonna get? I'm gonna get email. I'm gonna hear about that, man. They're gonna use that against me, but that's okay.
Hey, you still have to go through all the same background checks, registrations,
you
fingerprinting. I mean, none of that changes.
Exactly. But look, I use a little humor. But hey, if Democrats can't develop a sense of humor, screw them. I'm just
a little
saying.
sense of humor?
Yeah. Well, all right. Oh, that reminds me. I saw some. Now, David, you're going to love this. I'm going to have to send it to you. Now, look, folks. You guys know I'm all of 5'3" if I'm wearing the right shoes, but I saw the funniest meme today, and did you send it out?
I did.
No, I'm gonna send it to you. This was compliments of Roger, but he sent out what was it, a meme, and the caption said,
No, it showed a picture of a bunch of small people, little people,
munchkins. Think of the Wizard of Oz.
There's a proper term for small people, little people, short people. I don't know.
Short people.
But there was a gathering of them, and somebody pointed out, "Look, gatherings are finally getting smaller."
I mean, that gives a whole new meaning to groups smaller than 10. But this was
smaller groups in general,
smaller than 4 feet tall.
Does that mean you can have two? Does that mean you can have a group of 20?
I guess, and you know what, you could. But that made that.
Come on top of each other.
That tickled you,
Give
huh?
him one big overcoat.
It's like this morning I get hit by this guy I hit him from behind. I was focused on the radio. I tapped him from behind. It wasn't a hard hit, but we both got out of the car. Guy gets out of the car and he's a dwarf. And I was going, "Oh my!" He
Little
goes.
people.
He looks at me. He looks at his car. You can see the frown on his face. He goes, "I am not happy." And I went, "Well, which one are you?
Which one are
Sleepy?
you?"
Sneezy?"
Clearly, it might have been grumpy.
Apparently, that's when the fight started.
Where did he bite you?
Okay, that's enough. I should have stopped while I was ahead, but I didn't.
Oh,
I've been known to do that before, though, so I'm not going to stop.
We are full of them.
Stop when you were.
When I was ahead. Oh, ha
I
ha
was
ha.
ahead. But
Yes. But anyway, back to the Magpul stuff.
It's almost as bad as last week when I started the fat jokes, but that's because Pelosi cleared the way for them.
Fat jokes?
Yes, the fat jokes.
There were fat jokes? I missed fat jokes.
You did miss that.
I must have missed the fat jokes. I like fat jokes.
I pointed out Pelosi called Trump a fatty. And so since she opened that door, morbidly obese. So,
but yet Stacey Abrams is a poised runway model.
Exactly, apparently. And now James...
He is the runway.
And now James Carville said that he called President Trump a fatty, a fat A-double-A. Carville went way further, but now they've opened that door. So now we can
body shame again?
Once again, body shame and have fat jokes.
Because I love the fact that they called Abrams a runway model, and they called Trump morbidly obese. I'm going, they probably weigh about the same.
Oh, I think she's got him.
And Trump's probably a foot taller than she is.
He's maybe more than a foot taller than her, but I think she's got him beat by 5 or 10 pounds. Just saying.
5 or 10.
Just saying.
Oh my. Yeah, but the fact you shouldn't pick if you're picking on somebody because of their weight, you have no valid argument to make.
Absolutely, which is the point.
That's
people,
right.
They the media.
Somebody was pointing out with all of the slanderous type things and Pelosi's, but they also pointed out that Biden has yet to come out with a platform What's he gonna do? What's he want? What's
He's
I don't think he can spell platform.
I can tell you one thing. He's anti-gun. I can tell you that right now. He helped pass the 1994 crime bill.
Yep.
Well, what about his shotgun out on the deck?
Oh, right.
Just take a double barrel, fire 2 shots off the railing.
When he thinks he's in front of the proper crowd, then he'll tell you, "Oh yeah, I fire off shots of my shotgun," and yeah.
Yeah, of course he ends up shooting his neighbor's dog half the time, but we don't want to talk about that.
Apparently, on his platforms now are masks. He put on his mask now because they're trying to shame Trump into wearing a mask, and I hope Trump never puts one on because all they want is an image. Because look how feeble Biden looked.
The only time Trump should put on a mask is on Halloween.
Yeah.
And it should be a Biden mask.
Biden mask.
Or Pelosi. She doesn't wait until Halloween.
She has a mask on every day.
She has a new mask on. It looks like about every 2 weeks. Collagen infused mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my. Anyway.
Boy, did we get off track.
If you're looking for MP5 parts, Magpul's making a bunch of new stuff. They have a trigger grip module that's out now, which is supposed to be enhanced, better angles, all that stuff, and they're coming out with a safety selector switch, which is supposed to be more enhanced, more ergonomic. Whew, we finally got through that. It only took a half an hour, but that's okay. What do I got next? Oh, there was a hero of the week, and I cannot find her name anywhere.
You hurting over there? Oh.
We have a hero of the week. There was a shooting at the Corpus Christi Naval Station. I don't know if you guys heard about this. Apparently, some person of Middle Eastern descent, and apparently he was on all kinds of websites, and his Facebook page said he was a jihadi and whatnot. And the FBI is actually calling it terrorism related. So they're actually using the word terrorism to describe this guy.
Because Comey's not there to shut him down.
Maybe, yeah. But apparently it's 6:15 in the morning. This guy pulled up to the gate at the Corpus Christi Naval Station, pulled out a pistol and opened fire on some of the guards. Hit one of the female guards apparently in the chest. She was wearing her Kevlar and ceramic plates, so it knocked her down, but she rolled over and managed to hit the button to put the barricades up to keep him from getting into the base.
Good for her.
Even after getting hit.
Amazing.
Yes. And then, of course, I don't know if it was her, but the security Ds that was there ended up putting an end to that in a hurry by opening fire with their own weapons.
Excellent.
Shutting him down.
So is he taking his celestial dirt nap?
Yes, he is. Wonderful. He is DRT, dead right there.
Wonderful. That's what I like.
And
he can take his right to the dirt.
And the woman who was hit was taken to the hospital, sustained minor injuries, but was later released that same day. So apparently she was fine. The vest did its job.
I was going to say, the Kevlar did its.
But it didn't stop her from doing her job either.
You know, I haven't heard anything about that on the national, Communist News Network.
That's because it didn't have the outcome that they wanted it to have.
Because it wasn't an old white guy trying to shooting minorities.
No.
It wasn't a MAGA hat wearing white guy.
That's right. This is actually a terrorist, apparently. What is this? Do you want to say the guy's name? I usually don't like to. Mr. something.
Khaled.
Something al-Shahi, al-Jahi. He apparently had his profile on social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, and portrayed an individual consumed by religion with posts citing the Quran and Islamic geopolitical issues.
Well, you know what they can do with the Quran and
No. Easy, David, easy.
I know where you're going
easy.
with that.
Easy. We don't want to slander an entire religion for the acts of a few extremists.
Yeah, I do.
No, we don't.
I can't stand any of them.
You don't like any of the religious extremists? Okay, well, I can go with that.
I can live with that.
No, the Middle East, they can take all of their.
Hey, Jerusalem was in the Middle East. That's where Christians come from.
That's true.
That's true.
Jews are in the Middle East.
We got to exclude that.
That's where bagels come from.
Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia. Any of those, they can take a flying.
That's right, but we do have to protect our.
But it does say the gunman was neutralized.
That's
there you go.
Killed.
But no one else was hurt.
Dirt nap.
Yeah. But the base was on lockdown for several hours following this.
That's Neil Bortz, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
What's that?
It was.
Dirt nap.
The dirt nap, yes.
Yeah, I have to give kudos. Yeah, it was that was from Neil Bortz.
But I tell you, any of those that try to come into a base like that.
Well, I'm glad.
I'm proud of that lady. And
Yeah.
Very proud.
I wonder if she was Navy or if she's contract labor.
I believe she was a Navy
bet she
officer,
was Navy. Yeah, I think she
Navy
was,
personnel. Yeah, I believe they said she was Navy
and
personnel.
Kudos to her brothers in arms who unloaded hell on this guy.
Unleashed on this guy. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
done.
Yep.
But yeah, so why didn't this come out? This was a perfect example of good guys using guns to stop a bad guy with a gun.
Right.
Granted, it was in a military base, but still, imagine if she had not been able to stop the barricade and he had driven through and started shooting up all these Navy people while
he could have had a bomb in the car. You never know.
Yeah, well, they locked everything down and searched for a bomb in his car before they allowed him to be, extracted
Extract the body.
from the scene and everything.
Don't you know they locked it down?
Yeah, well, yeah, they had to. I mean, who knows? He could have had a vest on, and not a cowboy vest with a watch in it.
So would you say they were locked and loaded?
They were apparently.
When was this?
Last Thursday, May 21st.
Know that day well.
And not one,
Okay.
not hardly any words on. The
I know
list.
you never heard about this. I thought it was a great story, and I don't have her name. Unfortunately, I was unable to find that.
Now that's a name that we would like.
Yeah, we'll have to make her hero of the week
We'll,
month.
we'll make her an honorary Georgian and put
Yeah.
her in the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame.
I think we should.
That's great. I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully she was just pissed when she got hit. Hit the ground going, son of a gun, no one's going to shoot me in the chest and get in here.
I like it. It's a
But
good-
she managed to
good.
hit the emergency barricades, which apparently rise up out of the ground and keep anything from getting through.
Oh yeah,
It's a good hero of the week.
Yep, after getting
they
hit.
Are, They are big.
Yeah, but that was a brilliant story, and I need to find out more about that because that was great.
Yes,
I'd
we'll
love to see
follow
the
up on
na-
this next week on Locked and Loaded.
I love to see when the military guys get the best of terrorists. I mean, that's
Heard first and only on America's
Web Radio. Woohoo! Now we're going to go to Erie, Pennsylvania.
That's eerie.
Erie, yeah, kind of scary. Well, this is really weird. I mean, this is like Twilight Zone stuff. Now, Erie, Pennsylvania city workers must ask permission from the city to vacation outside the city limits.
What?
Yeah, let that sink in for a minute. Wow. Imagine having to ask permission from your city to leave the city to go on vacation. Your papers, please.
Not in this case. Exactly. What does that remind you of?
Oh, my gosh.
Do they have to get their state passport
I
stamp?
guess. I mean, I don't know.
Think
It's-
about this.
Oh, that's Nazism.
Absolutely. Because of this Wuhan coronavirus, it was Fauci and that whole crew up there that were trying to put forth the idea, and this is a Democrat idea, they've tried this before, an immunization card. So you actually, they floated the idea around of Americans carrying papers so that if you cross state lines or you crossed county lines, that they could pull you over and you had to show your immunization papers.
They
pretty messed up.
they had already taken it one step further with the like the dog. You put the dog, the insert in the dog, the little chip.
The chip.
Oh,
chip.
yeah.
It already brought
There
up
were
the
rumors
idea
that
of
Bill
a chip.
Gates was trying to do or wanted to develop something like that. But I
You know
tell
what,
this
Bill
is
Gates?
crazy.
He can go go play with.
He can take a long walk off a
What?
short pier
Go play on a
on a crowded street.
Go around with spikes. Yeah.
Go play in traffic. New York traffic, because those cabs don't stop for anything.
No, they don't.
Now, the funny thing is they're saying
Except
Bill
bagels.
Gates was behind this vaccination idea, but yet his family is unvaccinated.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Well,
course.
they're millennials, and heaven forbid somebody should mess up their blood with a vaccination.
I imagine his kids will never have to suffer the pain and agony of flying a commercial airliner.
Probably not.
Yeah, but you know what? They ain't immune to measles or smallpox. either.
No, nobody is. But the thing is, he's not going to worry about a car to fly on a commercial airliner. He's probably got enough private jets to fly his family from now to the end of time, wherever they want to go, so they can be vaccinated or not.
Yeah.
But this Erie, Pennsylvania, they were saying if someone should decide to travel outside the city limits, the employee should make every effort to avoid stopping at restaurants, hotels, motels, campgrounds, or rest areas.
So just continue to kill
So
American
just-
businesses.
urinate in a cup in the car and leave it in there, and I don't know.
I guess you have to.
Pack food and water to take on a long trip, the city ordered. Plan on sharing driving duties. If you must stop overnight, research your accommodations carefully. Don't stop on a whim without knowing the background of the facility.
Yeah.
Where do they think you are? Oh, my God, this is the United States of America. We don't have this type of restriction.
Dude.
But Erie, Pennsylvania is just pumping them in now, going, oh, no, we're going to take care of everything for you. We're going to tell you where you can stop, where you can't stop, what you should do.
Tyranny. In the name of a virus.
And don't think they're not coming after the Second Amendment next.
No, please,
don't think they're not coming after it. This is I can't believe they're going after the First Amendment first thing. That just seems shocking to me.
Well, that's how brazen they've become.
The virus scare has got everybody so spooked. It's crazy.
Well, one thing this virus, the last 3 months there's one thing it's done pretty well. It's exposed the sheep.
The sheeple.
The sheeple. It really has.
The people who are sheep.
Really has. I mean, if you are one of those out there who just absolutely can't think for yourself and you can't question anything that your precious bureaucrats are telling you, then you're a sheeple.
Okay, well, we're going to come back after a couple minutes. We've got to take a quick break. This is Locked and Loaded. I am Roger B., and you're listening to America's Web Radio.
Perhaps you are struggling to cope with the disease of addiction. If not, you probably know a family member or friend that needs help in battling the cravings and the personal and professional damage done by the effects of drugs or alcohol. Get a pen and paper and be ready to write down the following. These are the issues that the trained staff at the Atlanta Healing Center address and treat every day. Their doctors and counselors with over 40 years of practice in the field of addiction can treat the suffering individual in a thoughtful, compassionate, and experienced manner and guide him or her along the path to recovery. So call 770-696-9862 and speak to a knowledgeable staff member about how you or your loved one can be helped to enjoy a better and healthier life. More information is also available on the website at www.atlantahealingcenter.com.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Get your pen and paper ready. If there's a move in your near future, I'm here to tell you that the folks I used and now recommend is Around Town Movers. Timothy and the guys recently moved me, and I am and was totally satisfied with a sometimes not so fun experience moving. Call Timothy at 770-378-4708 and make it a good move and a good experience. Around Town Movers for that local or cross-country move. Timothy, Around Town Movers, in my opinion, are the best. That's Around Town Movers. Call them.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
And we're back. I'm Roger B. This is Locked and Loaded, and you're listening to America's Web Radio.
Pew, pew.
Next on my list is something that's just really odd. I mean, well, not that odd when you consider it, but apparently suicides during lockdown have skyrocketed. In fact, there were people, and the doctors in Northern California, one of them said, they have had an increase in suicide deaths that he has not seen in the whole time he's in practice. They had a year's worth of suicides in 4 weeks. In fact, more people have died from suicides than have from the COVID-19 in the northern part of California. So you're wondering, how much has this lockdown really saved people? Has it really helped that much? We've shut down economies. People are losing jobs, losing houses, can't afford to pay their bills, losing families. Divorce rates are skyrocketing. I mean, we're basically doing everything we can to destroy a country that it took 200 years to build, and these guys are trying to kill it in a matter of 6 months. And apparently they're doing it. And people are killing themselves, apparently, left and right all over the place. It's just insane. And yet, of course, now you might wonder, why would I be talking about this? Because, of course, these people who are pointing this out are pointing out that guns are enabling people to kill themselves. And we need to stop getting guns in the hands of people who are going to kill themselves. That goes back to a mental health issue, people. This is not a gun issue. I would much rather these people take a gun and use it on themselves than to get in their car and decide to go out and drive in traffic and kill themselves like that and take a bunch of people with them. You know, it's a sad story every time someone decides to take their own life, but please don't give them an excuse to go out and take anybody else's life at the same time. That would make it 10 times worse, especially when you get into, children and stuff like that. We have to defend the children, so let's make sure everybody has guns available in case they have to take care of themselves like that. I'm sorry, I'm just not going to allow them to jump into cars or boats or motorcycles and decide to do themselves like that. But you look at the numbers here, and it's crazy how many people, how the rate has jumped substantially. I mean, this guy said they've had a year's worth in 4 weeks. What would that be, 12 times the normal rate? It's crazy. In fact, they've had more deaths from suicide than they've had from the COVID-19 virus in this particular part of California. So it's just, we have destroyed everything. And the thing is, they're going to come back and they're going to blame the guns. They're going to try and restrict the guns. They're going to put higher standards in place to try and get one. You may have to have a mental health check to buy a weapon. They're going to try all kinds of things to try and put this on the gun instead of putting it on the individual. And that's something we cannot let happen. People, we have to vote. This November is coming up. Somehow, some way, everybody has to get out and vote, and you have to vote for freedom. This is going to be a major election that could determine from here on out where our gun rights, our Second Amendment rights, our First Amendment rights, where they're all going. And if we're willing to let them go away with the wind, then we might as well just find a new place to live, because this country will no longer exist if we get rid of our First and Second Amendment rights. There's just no stopping it at that point. Now, I put it to first responders. I put it to police officers, to military personnel. How far will you go to follow orders? If you're told to violate the Constitution, institute some sort of illegal order, will you do it? Or will you stop and think and go, well, I need this job, so I'm going to do whatever they tell me? Or do you say, you know what, this is illegal. I shouldn't have to do this. I can't do this. I took an oath to defend the Constitution. How can I follow this order and still follow my oath that I took to uphold the Constitution? And I know this is a difficult thing, because so many people, they need their jobs. I understand that. But there's a matter of honor and integrity that comes in here, and a matter of how far are you willing to let tyrannists go? How far will you enable them to order you to go to help them achieve their goals? Because to stand by and say, I was just following orders, is no longer a valid excuse. You can't do that. And it may seem subtle at first. It may seem, well, it's for the common good. It's for the, public protection. We have to do this to protect everybody. You know what? It doesn't say null and void in case of pandemic on the Constitution. It does not say that anywhere. The Constitution is the law of the land. It's the supreme law of the land and should be upheld no matter what circumstances there are. Like we talked about earlier, you can encourage people. You can suggest strongly. You can do your best to persuade people to do things that will help in situations like this. But legally, you cannot force them to shut things down. You cannot force them to not congregate. The First Amendment gives you the right, gives the people the right to peaceably assemble. You can't tell them they cannot. That's in violation of the First Amendment. You can't tell people they cannot go worship if they want to. They may be taking a risk. You're absolutely right. They may be. But you know what? That is their right, and you cannot take away their rights. The government cannot make laws restricting these. That's what the first 10 amendments are all about. It's not rights that the government is giving you. It's restrictions on the government from infringing on these rights that you naturally have. A lot of them start off with Congress shall make no law to impede, to stop, to prevent, And Second Amendment, shall not be infringed. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That doesn't say you have the right to keep and bear arms. It says the government cannot make any laws to stop you. That's what it says. And the First Amendment, too. It says they cannot make any laws to stop people from peaceably assembling, to stop people from worshiping as they want to. It doesn't say you have the right to. It says the government has no right to take these away from you. So
Roger, going with what you're saying, and I certainly agree with what you're saying. However, and if there's one, well, they couldn't have known. I marvel at our founding fathers and what they wrote and the crystal ball they had to see into the future so many years. However, unlike other media, what you've just said and just explained is absolutely dead on. But we take the other media, and we had every opportunity, even with the Chinese screwing us over, to handle this. I'm not, Iraq, Iran, China, they're all garbage as far as I'm concerned. But beyond that, our media, if they had informed instead of giving their opinions of stuff, told the truth, and
the truth, the media. Come on,
heavens! But this whole thing could have been handled so much better and properly if the media would be responsible instead of letting their jerk things they call reporters or news people and their producers that write the script for many of the announcers that read whatever they're told to read. But my personal opinion, if given the right information in a timely manner, without prejudice,
without opinion,
we wouldn't have had to have ever had the lockdown in the United States. But because they didn't, and they wouldn't, and in some cases couldn't, I guess, that's why we had the government had to do something.
Right. Well, they didn't know. There was the unknown factor there.
Sure.
I understand that, but still, you have to approach this. I think they should have approached it a lot more cautiously than they did, because giving states that much power, especially states that want to restrict rights and want to shut down gun stores and shut down places of worship, states like that have to be reined in. You can't just give them free rein to do whatever they want, because they will go to the side of evil every time. All right, well, we're gonna wrap it up today. This is Locked and Loaded. I'm Roger B., and you have been listening to America's Web Radio.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Want to give your family or loved one the perfect gift? Then go online and check out the TornadoBodyDryer.com.